Hello and welcome to Disc Review, the show that goes track by track through a different album each week. And you know what? We've been looking at the view counts and we've been looking at what you guys have been saying, and we think it's time for another Pierce the Veil record. What do you say, Matt?
Absolutely. I mean, we just had a live stream talking about the new Pierce the Veil song, so it's a hot topic right now. I'm sure a lot of Pierce the Veil fans are very happy with getting new music finally after years. But we're looking back at a record we both have a lot of nostalgia for, and I think a lot to say. This is Selfish Machines. This is their second record. What do you think of Selfish Machines looking back?
You know, it's interesting because when I was a teenager, I absolutely loved this album. I might have even said it was my favorite Pierce the Veil album ever. Going back and listening to it, I still think it's really good. I had a lot of fun with it. But I think a few songs are keeping it down, and for that reason, I think that I'm gonna have to go with Collide for my favorite. But
Yeah.
you know, it's really good, and the fact that they went from a flair for the dramatic to this is astounding. Because in my personal opinion, a flair for the dramatic is bad. It's not good. But this album is good, and there's a lot of really great things that they did. I think a lot of that comes from having Tony on guitar and Jaime on bass, which was a new addition to the band this record. And also just from what I've heard on the writing process with Vic and the lyrics, I think that he had a really interesting way of going about it. He kind of, I don't know if you have heard this, but what he did was he didn't own a house. He didn't know where he was going to record these vocals, didn't want to pay for studio time. And so his friends who owned a house were like, hey, we have a pool house in the backyard. You can just set up shop in there and record your album over there. So he took all the instrumentals and went into that pool house and recorded all of the vocals by himself. And I just think it's, it's really interesting looking back and looking at how the vocals turned out on this record, because he literally just went hard the entire time. There's very little moments on this album where he's not singing full force, you know?
Yeah, he does a great job. I vaguely remember that story, but yeah, I think he's doing a great job on this record. I agree that this might not be my favorite record, but I definitely had more fun with it than I thought I would going back this time. There's some standouts, I think, that are really impressive, and you're absolutely right. This is a huge increase in quality from their last record, so this is a great second album to be proud of.
Yeah, well, why don't we just jump right into it, not waste any time here. The track, or the album rather, starts with Besitos, which I believe is kisses in Spanish. I'm very bad with Spanish, so don't quote me on that. But this song is one of the very first Pierce the Veil songs I ever heard. I was probably 14 years old and typed in, like, this is super cringe, but I typed in like metal love songs on Google, and Pierce the Veil popped up, and I listened to a few of those, and one of them was Besitos. This song is just super fun. It's got a great chorus, and I think some great Latin influences, which the whole album definitely has.
Yeah, I just kind of shocked like how much this is high-pitched era Vic at his height.
Oh yeah,
like this is it. This song right out the gate, that's what you're getting. And I agree, it's a fun song. I remember liking this one a lot when I was really into this record. Came back to this one a lot. It's got some great guitar. This outro is pretty fun, and I just like the energy. But I mean, it's very different from the second track, which is Southern Constellations. I'm actually a big fan of intro tracks that are short and kind of building up to a really big track on the record. That's what this is. But honestly, this is a top tier Pierce the Veil song for me. I just love the ominous sounds, which they do use a lot, but it's just got some great lyrics and builds up really well into a great track coming up next.
Yeah, this intro track it leads into A Boy Who Could Fly, and this is probably the best intro track that Pierce the Veil has. I mean, the only other one I can think of, they have May These Noises Scare You in Your Sleep. Is that what it's called?
Something like that.
But I think this one's better. I think that it really does a great job of leading you into the next song. And it also shows just how poetic and well-spoken Vic is. I know we've talked about some songs that I think that we both think the lyrics are not very good by Pierce the Veil, but they have a lot of really good ones that have great lyrics, and I think that the next one shows that. Which the next song is "The Boy Who Could Fly." What do you think about that one?
This definitely underrated song. I think it doesn't have a crazy
Yes.
string count, but I just think this is like top tier Pierce the Veil. Especially if you like that chaotic and angry Pierce the Veil. Like this is them at probably their peak of that style. This has a great chorus. Verses are also really good. Second chorus and second verse. I mean, in particular, I really like. He does this kind of like. It feels like he's talking, but also kind of screaming, and they kind of change the way the sounds like the voice is coming from in a really cool way. It's got some acapella harmonies. Especially I think in a pre-chorus. But I really like the bridge. Things just get really cool there. He has like a panned vocal effect. I just think they're doing so many fun things with the production and with the different sections that really pay off.
Yeah, this has always been one of my all-time favorite Pierce the Veil songs. It does a great job at showcasing all the things that Pierce the Veil is good at, such as like the high-pitched vocals that just never let up, extremely fast technical guitar work, and layers upon layers of Vic's voice. This is another one where the lyrics just feel so poetic and fun to decode. And you know what? That bridge is so chaotic and crazy that when it leads into something that's not so chaotic, it feels great. It's so fun.
The next song is Caraphernelia. Very popular song. Was this the lead single?
I'm sure it was. I mean, this and Bulletproof Love were probably the singles on this one.
Feature from the singer of A Day to Remember, although it's not listed right on the name of the song, which I was always confused by when I was new into Pierce the Veil. Like I didn't understand who this guy was.
Yeah.
It's got a really heavy chorus from the feature. I'm not too much into that type of screaming, so my favorite parts of the song are the verses. I like when the acoustic guitar comes in for the bridge. It's also got some background synths that I never really thought about, but they add some cool energy to the song. But I like Vic's chorus sections are really catchy, and I get why this song is so popular with Pierce the Veil songs. I think they really like this, heavy chorus vibes.
Yeah, A Day to Remember, I think, kind of came up with Pierce the Veil. They kind of, were at the same levels and like helping each other out. And I think that this, having the singer from A Day to Remember on this track was really fun. Although, you know what? Like, I don't like his style as much as Vic's voice, And so I think that this song could have been great without him on it, but I think it's fun to mix it up, throw another voice on there. This song is titled, it's kind of a play on words of paraphernalia, which is, I believe it means like stuff related to something. But it also adds in his ex-girlfriend's name, Cara. So Caraphernelia, meaning her things. So I think I have a vivid memory of playing this song on Rock Band.
So do I. With you.
Yeah. And it was a great time, there's nothing better than being a kid playing a Rock Band with your friends and jamming out to some Caraphernelia. The next song is Fast Times at Clairemont High. This is a weird song in my opinion. I think the instrumental is actually really fun, but the lyrics are weird and not very good. I think the bridge is cool when he says every single door in this house is on fire, and then it goes really heavy. That's a lot of fun, but other than that, I don't really care for it. I actually think that the chorus is just a little incel-y. I don't know if you got that vibe.
Yeah, I think it's pretty on the surface with it too. I think the chorus also just isn't the catchiest. This might be the weakest chorus on the record. So
yeah,
I agree. Like I do like when that energy picks up in the bridge. You mentioned that line, and it goes like goes into some high energy final chorus like they always do. But in general, it's pretty mid tier Pierce the Veil. I don't think it's anybody's favorite really, but and certainly not mine.
I would say it's probably my least favorite on the record here.
Yeah, I think it's the second least favorite. My least favorite is the next one, the new National Anthem. It's got some decent parts where they try some new things. I just don't think it comes together for me. It's just, I think it's the weakest song.
I definitely see that. Like I think Fast Times is still my least favorite, but this one is not good for different reasons. I think it's not good just because it's a little boring. You know, like you said, it does try some new things and it goes in some directions that I didn't expect. And I think that it does a good job of keeping the album layered with different tracks, different types of sounds. Um, I just think, but I kind of like some of the lyrics. I
Yeah.
think that is okay. It's just mainly just the sound of it, wasn't
Hmm.
my favorite. But I love the line, somebody's supposed to fall in love, but no one even calls, or something like that. Um, I just think that that's pretty good. But, we're spending all this time on New National Anthem when we could be spending more time on the next song, which is Bulletproof Love. This is the song everyone came for.
Yep.
Bulletproof Love is a masterpiece. The lyrics are great. The instrumental is really fun, and it just all blends together to make this super solid song. This song has one of the best one-liners, of
Yeah.
course. My love for you was bulletproof, but you're the one who shot me. It's great. And it's a great example of a sad song, sad lyrically, but happy sounding, which is so fun.
Yeah, you said a lot of how I feel about it. This is my favorite Pierce the Veil song. I just remember, like, as soon as I discovered this song at 15, it was on repeat for weeks. I couldn't believe how good it was. It's so catchy. The lyrics, like you said, are incredible, really iconic. And I mean, all my favorite bands that I've had over the years do exactly what you say, upbeat sounding songs, but emo lyrics. It's just such a great combo. A lot of people love this song and songs like it. It's really, it's a masterpiece example of that style. And I vibe with this song the whole way through. I love every section. I love that ending where there's just background screaming and the song just cuts off really quick. It's great at keeping that energy and holding it right to the end.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree more. This is one of my favorites as well. And that song leads into Stay Away from My Friends. And, this is a low energy song. I was surprised at how emotional this song got me, to be honest. I hadn't listened to it in a long time, and I think it's pretty good. I think it's got a really sad message. It makes, for a great addition here, especially because most of the album is really upbeat, really fast paced. They kind of took time to just slow down, give us an emotional power ballad, which is something I always appreciate.
Yeah, I remember liking the song a lot, and going back into it at the beginning, I was like, do I like this song still? But it just picks up during that bridge, and the song really soars for me in that section. It's got some great melodies, and you're right, that emotion, it works really well. And I love when an album is willing to change that pace. I mean, piano is not very prevalent on this record, but it comes in, it's the lead for most of the song here, and I just think it works really well. I like the song a lot. My one question is how do you feel about the squeak they added?
The what?
They added like a squeak sound effect.
Yeah, I guess I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't recognize that.
Go to 145.
I think I know what you're talking about.
They added a squeak, bro. 100%.
I mean, that kind of sounds like the guitar, right? Is that what that is?
I don't know what it is. It just sounds like a squeak. I don't care what it is.
Okay.
But it's intentional.
Okay.
Is it just very bizarre?
A little bit. I actually never even
It
noticed
sounds like
that until
a
you just
clown
pointed it
horn.
out.
Listen, it's a clown horn. He's squeezing it.
Hold on, I gotta go back now. Yeah, I hear it, dude.
Right?
It does
It's
sound like
always
a
bugged
clown
me.
horn.
I think it's supposed to be like, I don't know, like accentuating that note that Vic's hitting, but I don't know.
Do you
It's
think it
such a
could have just
weird
been like a
choice.
vocal harmony that like
That
poked
went-
through a
yeah.
little too much?
Dude, that's not human. That's not. Someone made that noise with an instrument and put it in. It's not. No, I don't know. I don't know. I'd love to hear Piercefeld talk about that. Maybe it was a different instrument that made a sound that.
Maybe this had like a
Wasn't-
bike horn sitting by, and they were
Right?
just like, "Let's just squeak this thing."
But no one ever talks about it, and to me, it's like it's so noticeable. I noticed it from the first time I heard this song. It's just
I've never noticed it, but now I'm sure I won't be able to unhear it.
it doesn't ruin the song. The song's so good. I don't know. To me, I think it's an intentional choice. There's no way you'd miss that. So
Yeah.
I can't help but think it's good because they meant to do it, and it's what they, an artistic choice they made for the song. But I just think it's funny no one's ever talked about it, or at least that I've heard.
Yeah. Well, now we're about to start a new wave of Pierce the Veil
Mm-hmm.
fans who
Who
are
noticed the
demanding
squeak?
answers.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, the next song is "I Don't Care If You're Contagious." I just think this song is really fun. It's not my favorite on the album, but it does have great energy, and it's kind of classic Pierce the Veil. It sounds like, this reminds me just how much Pierce the Veil has grown from A Flair for the Dramatic. The guitar is just so much more interesting and alive. It's the kind of song that has a lot of different parts to it and just doesn't do the same sound throughout, which I really appreciate.
Yeah, I like this song a lot. The energy picks back up. I think this song and the next one I kind of grouped together in my mind. They're right next to each other on the album, and they have similar energy. But yeah, this is just like Pierce the Veil doing its thing and doing it well. Like, these are some of the most standard Pierce the Veil style, but that's not a bad thing. They're just doing their style really well in this track.
Right. And as you mentioned, Disasterology is next. I think this is another classic right here. It's just probably has some of the best imagery on the album, which I
Yeah.
really love. I love the verses, how they talk about, different things that you can really visualize very well. It's got the iconic line, "Can we create something beautiful and destroy it?" The breakdown is really what does it for me as well.
Yeah, I agree. It's got a great breakdown. It's got great energy. They always know how to make their songs interesting and varied. And these two tracks are really good examples of that, because I feel like these could have been boring songs. But the next track is $1 Million Houses, The Painter in parentheses. I've always kind of called it The Painter in my mind. Or do you, which name do you go by when you think of
I
this
call it
track?
$1 Million House, but I can
Okay.
see why. I mean, I've always wondered why bands do that. I think it's cool. I don't understand it. Is it just to give it two titles? Is that kind of the point of
I
it?
think this one is just to give it two titles. I like when the parentheses are like an addition, so it's still one title. Like, it's 1975 does that a lot, where it's like completing the phrase or the idea, kind of,
Yeah.
but kind of separating it for added effect. This one just seems like it's just two names.
Yeah. I mean, I guess technically it's all one name if you want to
Yeah.
really be technical with it, but yeah, I've always just called it $1 Million House.
Uh, I mean, this one's famous for the auto tune. I like it when
Oh yeah.
artists have fun with auto tune. Like, I've always vibed with it. It's a pretty decent song. I think it fits the album well. It's not like super standout, but I don't skip it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Vic said this song was about his parents. His dad is a painter, so this song is just about their love story. The song, like you said, starts off with some auto tune, and I think that's gonna turn some people off, but I really dig auto tune, man. I mean, Vic has proven that he can sing. He can
Yeah.
sing just fine without vocal effects. I don't think it takes away from the song to add a little fun vocal effect here. Um, I also like the message about just choosing love over money.
Mm-hmm.
It's wholesome, it's fun. So yeah, I agree with what you said. It's not my favorite. It doesn't stand out, but I don't skip it. It's pretty good.
That brings us to the closer, The Sky Under the Sea. Pretty low stream count for this one as well, which I'm kind of shocked, because I think it's a great closer. I think it's one of my favorite like high energy tracks. It's got a great breakdown. I don't know. I like it a lot. I'm just kind of surprised by that.
And that's kind of interesting because I think it's probably the weakest closer Pierce the Veil has.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, maybe if I were to compare it to other closers. I'm just saying, for this record, I don't. I think it's fine for this album.
yeah, I mean, it's fast and chaotic, which I think is something they were really trying to do on this record. But I just don't care that much for it. I'm trying to think of which one I'd rather end it with, but well, to be honest, I think that the bonus track should have been included.
Yeah.
I don't know why it was a bonus because it's so fire.
Yeah, I mean, we can just go straight into Kissing in Cars, which is a song they put out on the reissue in 2013. Why did they do a reissue? Something about the mix? I feel like you said something about.
I actually don't know on this one. I mean, a lot of the times it is because of the mix. They just want to have a retry on the mix, which I think is cool. like having different versions of the album. And a lot of people don't even think about mixes either, you know, and they won't even notice. But for me, as someone who does care about how the mix sounds, I think it's cool when bands are like, hey, we know it didn't sound right the first time. Here's this, try this. And a lot of times it sounds better. Sometimes it sounds pretty much exactly the same. But
I think this one sounds
I
better.
didn't.
I think it.
Yeah,
Was worth it.
I think it's pretty good. But and also, you know, this song is a must-have. I don't know why it wasn't
Yeah.
on the original release. I love Kissing in Cars. I can't say that enough. It's probably the best acoustic song Pierce the Veil's ever done. It's just so relatable, so emotional, hits in all the right areas for me. So yeah, this is a bonus track, so I don't really count it as part of the album, but I wish that it was part of the album, you know?
Honestly, I count it. I mean, I've always listened to the reissue, so it's always been a part of this. I know a little bit technically. I can see like it wasn't there originally, but yeah, this is the only song that beats this out for me is Bulletproof Love. This is absolute top tier.
Yeah.
Pierce the Veil. I wish they did more acoustic tracks. That's what it makes me realize because this is so good. I think it's perfect at capturing that like sad longing feeling. I don't know. It always worked so well for me in that way. That line when he says she was always the one, it just when that hits, it goes so crazy. There's some great background production choices they made that just really accentuate the feeling of this song, and I think it is definitely like one of their best songs, and I wish there was more like it because it's kind of one of a kind for them.
Yeah, I feel like I would really love just an acoustic EP by Pierce the Veil. Not covers, not versions of other songs
Yeah.
they've already done, but just like brand new songs would be so much fun. I mean, I don't think we're going to see that, at least not for a long time, because they are obviously in the process of rolling out their newest album, and I'm sure we can expect to have quite a long journey after that's released before we hear back from them. But yeah, I love this song. I think it deserves to be right at the end, right in the sweet spot. What did you think about this album as a whole?
Yeah, I think it was better than I thought. Like I remembered it. I kind of like. I mean, I'm a big fan of Misadventures. I really like the newer stuff. I thought I would think this was dated, but it doesn't feel that dated. There's only a couple songs I don't particularly love, but there's a lot of great stuff on here. And the standout stuff is insanely good. It's their best stuff is here. So for people who are just getting to Pierce the Veil or have liked them for a long time, I'm sure this is going to be a really important record for them. And it still is for me. I like this one a lot.
Yeah, I think Collide with the Sky was more popular just because, well, for one, I think every song was good. But also they had, you know, Kellen Quinn on there and a few other decisions that really just made it pop and really accessible and really lovable by the fan base. But this one is not a miss, you know. It stands alone as a pillar in the Pierce the Veil journey here. It's obviously was a huge stepping stone for them and launched them into the limelight, which is why we get to enjoy so much of their music today. So many people wouldn't have heard of Pierce the Veil if this album didn't come out. So I think that it's very solid.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, look out for more Pierce the Veil coming soon. They just dropped their first single, and I hear an album is on the way.
Yeah, that single has 2 million streams already, and it just dropped a couple days ago. So it's popping, and I like it. I think it's pretty good. So, but anyways, thank you for listening to this episode of Disc Review. Guys, we have an Instagram. We have a Twitter. We have Spotify. If you're not checking us out on Spotify, you're messing up. Go check us out. Give us some love. Subscribe if you haven't, would mean the world to us. We're trying to build a little music community here where we can all share what we like, talk about the good and the bad about different albums, and we'll see you again next week when we review something else.